surprisingly slow out of the opening. Would you agree? Actually, we're gonna have to see the first move because they're getting started.
Yeah, not by my standards. You, they've been playing perfectly fine by my standards, but I agree. This is not the speed of Nepomniachtchi Abdusatorov from their tiebreak Blitz game.
And here we see the same opening, the Spanish opening from Maxime Vachier-Lagrave yet again, going for all the same moves we saw in their first matchup. Jan-Krzysztof Duda once again doing this maneuvering of the knight. They're just doing the completely same thing. The knight coming into the middle of the board, attacking the pawn, and now the bishop once again coming out to attack the pawn on the left-hand side. Trades are being made. It seems as though these guys have people helping them, even if they're not taking a break, because Duda knew exactly what he wanted to do compared to the first one.
Well, either they have someone helping them, I hope so, or they have no one helping them and they just don't know what to do because they had no time to prepare at all. They just had to go straight back to this game. And when you already have chosen your opening and you don't have time to consult the computer or anyone, sometimes you're just stuck with that. And Duda is thinking now, as I believe it's Vachier, who is the first to deviate from the move d4 that he played in the first game.
And Duda spending his sweet time here, now 30 seconds down on the clock, feeling that this moment could be important for the whole course of the game.
Yeah, it is always very unpleasant when your opponent is the first to deviate that far into the game. And tricky move by Vachier. He responds to the attack on his knight by an attack on Black's knight.
That was unexpected. I'm sure Jan-Krzysztof Duda, when playing his bishop out, he thought he was threatening to capture White's knight, but instead there's the counter threat, and now this white knight is making its way into the heart of the black position.
Oh, this is like going very much in Vachier's favor, and this is often a scenario for like blitz matches like this, that when you have an opening prepared, you play it, it works out okay the first time, but then you don't have time to prepare anything for the second game. And maybe someone whispered something in Vachier's ears, like, here's a better move, just do that. He did it, and it seems like he's at least gaining himself time on the clock in a pretty nice position here as well.
Once again, Vachier has the bishop, Duda has the knight, but this is a very different circumstance than the previous game. Here, this bishop is pointing against something, and that something is the black king.
I mean, the good news for Duda is that he's got a nice knight on c5 on what we call an outpost square. So his position has his pluses, although I do think that white has the initiative. Black's rook on a7 is a bit trapped. I think black might want to, at some point, maybe consider queen b8, or maybe even queen e8, the move he did in the game before, to attack white's pawn on b5.
And Vachier-Lagrave moving his queen, pointing in towards the rook. It's a trap! It's a trap! If Duda now moves his king to the corner, Vachier-Lagrave will play his pawn up. But Duda, attentive to that trap, he moves his queen, protects the rook, also attacking the queen like Irina was indicating. Now the white bishop has to take a defensive stance, protecting the white pawn.
Yeah, well, the white bishop is taking multiple stances in this position. I mean, he is cutting off the black rooks from like moving at all. So he's doing a very important job in this position. Black has to figure out some way to play around him. But look at this tricky move by Vachier. He's not letting the black knight move anywhere, because then there's going to be a queen trade and the d6 pawn is going to be lost. So that's the point of his move. Vachier needs to activate, Duda needs to activate that rook on a7, maybe a3, a pawn sack. It's kind of interesting, but doesn't seem to really work at the moment.
I think Vachier-Lagrave is going to take this down. He has a great position, but also he has 1 minute more on the clock. And Duda is still thinking. He cannot figure out how to get his rooks into the game. I think one of the main plans for the Frenchman is just pushing his pawn forward in the middle, opening up the position for white's rooks while the black rooks are still out of commission.
This is just so unpleasant for Duda. I mean, you can understand why he's not moving because he barely has any moves to play.
And he's still not moving. He's down 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock. This is a championship match point for Vachier-Lagrave. Duda does get his rook.
Huge time advantage from Maxime over 2 minutes. That little opening finesse that he played has given him just great chances to win this game.
And he is pushing his pawn forward in the middle, trying to open up for White's rook to infiltrate. Jan-Krzysztof Duda offering the trade of queens.
And looks like
that trade
is... pawn.
Yeah, that trade has been accepted because now Vachier-Lagrave will be able to capture a black pawn. And unfortunately, in the relay there, we lost the black rook. But after the trade here, that rook is coming in, winning a pawn for Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Is it going to be enough to win the game, though? That's the big question.
It is a big advantage.
I'm going to need you to feed me the moves, Irina.
Oh, sure. I can feed you the moves. Give me 1 second. Okay, I see. Oh, wow. Okay, rook BB. Oh, wait, no. Something weird happened. No, everything is messed up. I can't feed you the moves because in the live board, White is up like a rook, and that's not clearly the actual position on the board. So what is happening? I'm trying to figure out from the live feed. Black has 2 rooks. White's got a passed A pawn, or no, it's a B pawn on B5. So basically all the queenside pawns have been traded, and White is still sitting with that pawn anchored on B5 by the bishop. Now the bishop has moved to D5, attacking the pawn on F7. Where is Black's knight?
We're going to have to move off the analysis board. Unfortunately, there was a problem with the stuff coming in to us from Poland. We can see in the distance, unfortunately, the organizers controlling the camera have not zoomed it in. Luckily, we just managed to fix the boards and can see that Maxime Vachier-Lagrave with 2 rooks is pointing in towards that black king. He has an extra pawn, but he's using the advantage of the extra pawn to kind of capitalize and start making threats against the black king while Duda is busy trying to deal with the white pawn.
Yeah, I mean, Duda, he's still alive, but just barely. I mean, he's holding it together, but that B pawn is the long-term problem. Black is stuck in complete passivity here. Vachier using this chance to advance the pawn even further. But what will White do here? Knight c5, isn't that... Oh, knight c5 hangs the f7 pawn. Yeah, so Duda is just paralyzed.
Maxime Vachier-Lagrave has a pawn 1 step away from becoming a new queen. He makes the trade bishop for knight. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave now in the end game, and he's saying this pawn is going to decide the game, and he is right. He's going to push his pawn up on the right side and get his rook away, and Duda is seconds away from resigning. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is going to be the world champion. There's a trade of pawns on the side of the board. Duda trying to use his king to stop White's king from getting into the game, but here Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is able to capture another pawn on the side of the board, and he does do so. 2 extra pawns for him now. Duda resigns. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, the world champion in 2021.
Yeah, I think Maxime, first of all, got rewarded for his excellent game against Magnus Carlsen. That was a hill to climb to even reach a tie for first place. That was the tough part, I think. But of course, beating Jan-Krzysztof Duda was no walk in the park, although I feel that this was a little bit of an unfortunate finish to this match because he was helped too much by the opening preparation that he had, that little finesse that he clearly prepared, and Duda was not prepared for. He was just in trouble right away, never really got into this final game.
And